Salute, salute. Knicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time. I got the Queen in the building as always. I got Sim in the building. Um, yeah, we're gonna talk about some things real quick. Quick show tonight. Just a couple things on my mind. Bojan and Burks. We're gonna assess them. 7 games so far. What we think, how we feel. And then we talk about these injuries and when we should expect some of these guys back. How y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Busy as usual, but I'm pretty good. A lot of things going on, but I'm good.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I'm good.
I ain't gonna front. This is the first like break time off I've had in like almost 2 weeks. So I really got to deep dive and think about the Knicks and you know what I mean.
Right.
Rewatch a couple games and things like that. So yeah, I'm ready for this one. Bojan and and Burks. I guess let's start with Burks. Get that out the way because he's pretty much hasn't been very well. I think he's been averaging I think it's 9 points so far, but it's not even the points per se. It's really the efficiency. I've been high on Burks since he was here before. Um, I was not one of the people who got down on Burks at the tail end of his previous Knicks stint, because I attributed it to the circumstance and he was forced into a role, and I think he did the best he could in that role at the time. So I wasn't down on him. I would have encouraged retaining him. Um, and so far, I know it's early, 7 games, but I thought the adjustment for him would be more seamless than even OG, if you will, because he had time here with most of these guys. And I thought his role would be similar to what it was when he first got here last time.
Right.
I don't think that's been really the case either. So that has a large part to do with why I think he's been struggling. But I'm gonna let you guys give your thoughts and then I'll chime in. Let's start with Sim. What do you think of Burke's performance so far? 7 games.
I mean,
And what do you expect moving forward?
so far it's been underwhelming, right? Um, and but I also got to look at it as most times somebody gets traded to a team, we look and say, all right, they're gonna need some time to get adjusted, right? And we know he's been here before, but this is still a different team.
Right.
When he was here before, there was R.J. Barrett, there was Alfred Payton, whoever else was on that team,
Big
right?
part, Emmanuel
Robinson,
quickly.
Emmanuel quickly, Mitchell Robinson that hasn't played. He's on the team, but he was playing. And so this is a very different team than the team that he was with then. So, you know, you gotta figure out. And then he's thrust into as soon as he gets here, everybody's injured. Right. So now almost immediately he's playing a major part.
Right.
So I think we probably gotta be patient for him to get some rhythm. You know what I'm saying? You're coming from one team where, it was one way, and then now you're coming to a new team and you got to figure some things out. You're thrust into a role. I think he'll be okay, especially when everybody gets back. When he doesn't have to be one of your primary scorers because right now you're looking at him as being one of your primary scorers, and with Jalen Brunson out, one of your primary shot creators,
Right.
right? I think when OG is back and Randall's back and Brunson is there, I think you see him fit into his role better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that. And I'm gonna probably get into this a little bit as well. Part of the thing, part of the problem is, I agree they're gonna be super helpful moving forward in the playoffs when we're whole, but we need more now. You know what I mean? In the meantime, and that's kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting more of impact while these guys are gone, because number one, there's going to be more opportunity, more responsibility and all that. You could respond if you want. If not, Queen, you give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Sim. I think that the role that both him and Bojan in is not the role that we brought them in to play. I think that my excitement over Burks was really scoring off the bench. That I felt we needed going into the playoffs, somebody with some experience. Um, some guys are not meant to step up in the way we're expecting them to step up. Like they're really good playing off of
Hmm.
guys. They're not that great being the guy. Now some guys are, and you find those hidden gems. Like, whoa, you could tell that this guy was kind of being held back or playing his role, and now that such and such is out, look how they're stepping up. But that's not everybody, and I don't think that's Burks. I think we kind of know who Burks is. Um, I think my disappointment, I mean, it's still early. I thought Burks could man the 8 or 10 minutes that would be behind Brunson. In addition, like he could play behind both Brunson and DiVincenzo,
Hmm.
right? And I'm not, I'm not that confident in that right now. I think he's better off the ball, even in that second unit, than directing the offense.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree 100%. And I was one of the people who thought, like thought, and especially in the second unit, that Burks would be able to have those point guard duties and be better than he was before, and it doesn't seem to be the case. Uh, quick question: do you think Tibbs is preparing them for that role? Because I also think they've both been underutilized in a sense where I think Bojan's been playing like 24 minutes. I think I got it somewhere, and then Burks about 18, and this is with the depletions. You know what I mean? So do you think one, they would do better with more minutes, or if Tibbs is possibly restricting their minutes just because that's kind of what it's going to be down the line?
That's a great point. I depleted the way we are, I would have expected that they would be playing more, more than 18, because at least the potential for scoring,
Right,
is there. So
right.
I would think that they would play more minutes, and hopefully, they will. Well, we'll talk about the injuries.
Yeah, I mean that's how like last night. That's what I was thinking last night. Bogdanovich should have had maybe 40 minutes. He had 29, but he was one of your best options to score the ball. We scored 92 points.
Mhm.
He was one of your best options to score, and he didn't play. He didn't play. He played 29. I mean, he played, but he played 29 minutes. I thought he should have played more than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it is surprising to me that he's not. You know, at least right now when we really need, we need these wins, giving these guys more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burks is down, but Burks is at 18 minutes a game, 9 points, 1.9, basically 2 rebounds. Excuse me, and point nine assists, basically 1 assist in 18 minutes, which by the numbers is not horrible. You know what I mean? It's really about the efficiency with Burks. You know what I mean? And the role, because I think he's been in that he's been that primary ball handler even in that second unit, and it seems to be to a detriment. Do you think there's a lineup without depletion that would help Burks? For instance, is there somebody else who can mind the ball that is currently on this team? Obviously, other than Brunson, that could help Burks kind of find his rhythm.
I mean, maybe
Um,
running with DiVincenzo, at the point. I didn't think McBride. I thought McBride was okay last night. I was specifically, watching him. He didn't seem to be pounding the ball as much. He seemed to be getting into the sets, which was real quick. Bring it down, pass it to somebody, and get off the ball. It was real quick, but he didn't seem to be pounding it as much. So, at least in the regular season, playing both of them together, playing him with DiVincenzo, just basically playing him um
Off the
off the
ball.
ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I think the same thing, playing him off the ball, I think will help him. I mean, right now, of course, you're going to be, you're trying to use him to score. So it's a little bit tougher. He's got to, and I don't know. I mean, right now, from what I've been seeing, he scores a lot better on the ball, or at least that's where he's comfortable creating his own shot.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many times I've seen him, dribble, pull up, um, which could be one of the reasons too why he's not shooting well, because nobody's helping to get him the ball, which he might need that right now. You know what I'm saying? I think, I don't know how much has he played with Brunson,
I don't think much.
Yeah.
because that might help if he's playing with Brunson a little bit. Let Brunson be the guy that draws the defense, and they can kick it out to Alec Burks, and is not as much responsibility on Burks.
Yeah. And he does good off the I don't know what his numbers are, but the few times he's gotten the ball off the catch,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed pretty good. But I don't know what the percentages are.
The reason why I specifically asked without Brunson, because I agree, but what that does two things. That limits McBride's minutes, because that kind of puts, I think we would see Brunson more in the second unit in that instance than we would Burks in the with the more starters. Let me preference myself. I see Josh in the building. You know what I mean? I think he'll play more with like OG was doing, with majority second unit guys, including Burks, which I think would limit McBride, which I think is unfair to McBride. I was thinking, and that's the other thing. Like, McBride has been playing well. I think, other than the pounding the ball and the over dribbling, you know what I mean. I think he's been playing phenomenally. I think he's one of the guys that's been stepping up. And I want to end the show with a list of who has stepped up.
But this is the issue. He plays better off the ball too.
Yeah. That is 100% fact.
Who do we have? Everybody can't be off the ball,
Yeah. How confident? All right, let's go there before we move to Bojan. Oh, how confident are either one of you? I know you and I, Sim, talked about it early in the off season about DiVincenzo potentially having some on ball duties. At this point, how confident are you in at least seeing that? But again, I think this also takes McBride out the picture. You know what I mean? So no matter whatever you do,
I think even right now with Brunson out, I don't think he's going to put DiVincenzo on the ball, because that's going to take away from his scoring. The Knicks needed scoring. Took 18 threes last night. Still thinking about it. He took 18 threes last night. But they need him to shoot it. They need him to shoot the ball. I'd like to see him go to the basket a little bit more, not take 18 threes. He did shoot 39% from the 3-point line. But he does have the ability to get to the basket. So, right now the Knicks are all perimeter oriented. Everything is on the perimeter. If someone can get to the basket, we need them to try to get to the basket.
Right.
18 threes. And I do want to point, I don't know if Josh is still here in the chat. He probably didn't listen last night. But I want to point out to Josh that the Knicks had 27 assists last night on 37% shooting, right? Because Josh is always getting mad that the Knicks don't have ball movement. And I agree that the Knicks need more ball, need to have ball movement without a doubt. But you also need the guys that can go get you a bucket. And with Brunson and Randall, they can go get you a bucket. Because last night, They didn't have guys that could really score the ball. 27 assists on 37% shooting, 27 assists on 82 shots or 83 shots. And they still only scored 92 points. You gotta have guys that can go get a bucket.
And the
And a lot of
Pistons game
times,
was similar too.
you have more assists because you don't have guys that can get you a bucket. And you
Right.
have to pass it around. And every time you score, it has to be off of a pass. So you're right. I think ball movement is good, but it doesn't assist doesn't always tell the story.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. And one of my concerns, I'm not sure if you're going to get into this, Tony. If so, I can save it for later. We're seeing right now that the Knicks, the shooting is better, but the Knicks don't have a lot of scoring. Behind Brunson and Randall, the Knicks do not have a lot of scoring. And you need that in the playoffs. Now, OG looked okay at spurts, getting his shots when Tibbs put him in with the second unit. He was more aggressive. Maybe he'll be able to get you a bucket. DiVincenzo, when Brunson was out, you saw it, but we didn't see it last night when we really needed buckets other than him shooting. So, who's our scorers? Who are the bucket getters on the Knicks?
Mhm. That's an absolute fact. On shout out JJ who said he's Tony's still mad about my playing comment. I am. I am. You had me thinking all night too. I had time to ponder. You know what I mean? So that's a fact. And Nixon Nice, he said ABB is being forced to play point guard now. I agree. Any last things on Burks? I am not like I ain't giving up on him like
Mm.
a lot of Knicks fans. I'm not super down on him like a lot of Knicks fans. I know they harbor that same energy from the end of the last stint. You know what I mean? Like so those guys is in full effect everywhere, but I think he'll figure it out and it does take some time. It's only 7 games. So yeah, I'm not worried per se, but like you just said about DiVincenzo, when we needed him, you know what I mean, in this last game, you know what I mean? That was your time to shine, like you know what I mean? So anything you want to end with Burks before we talk about Bojan and his 6 games? I think he missed the game, his 6 game performance.
No, I'm still good with Burks. I think once he gets in his role, his exact role, he'll be fine.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Once he gets in there, I think he'll be good. And he'll have a couple of games or something big in the playoffs, and people will see that's why we got him. He's perfect now because Randall and Brunson and OG and everybody's back. Hopefully everybody gets back. But yeah, I think he'll be all right.
Shout out to Kerry Cox. He said McBride shows his true worth, chasing Curry around the court all night. We're gonna see tomorrow. We're gonna see tomorrow. Bojan, I'm probably less down on. I feel like he's had more of Bojan moments or moments that I expect from him. He's had some disappointments too, even within those good stretches. I think what he had, the 24-point game. Oh, I don't have the numbers, but I think he had like a 24-point game, but it was like 20 in the first half or something like that. You know what I mean? So, and I think we lost that game as well. So I was expecting more down the stretch, but this one, with him, I think it's more of, it's really a question of his true fit, right? And that's one of the first things you asked me about, Queen, when we made the move, because we know he could get buckets and he's a scorer. 24 minutes per, so far with the Knicks, 14.8 points a game, 3 rebounds and assists. So the production is there, and that's, like you said, some limited minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I could attribute that to is Tibbs seeing something defensively in which he's trying to use him in spurts and limit his minutes, because like last night, again, like I agree with you, there's no reason for him to play limited minutes when we can't score. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right. Just got to deal with the defensive end of it.
So with him, I think it's more, and we have more than enough. I'll say adequate defenders to surround him with. At all times. Um, I mean, maybe we not that much better than Detroit. Detroit was, if that's what we running, but at the very least, we saw Detroit was losing, but they was in games, right? We know the Knicks DNA, if you will, where they're gonna fight, they're gonna be in games. So I mean, I agree with you with last night, Sim. But do you think, I mean, 24 minutes so far, do you think it increases um as long as these absences are, these injuries are current, or do you think it stays there? And do you think it's attributed to defense? And both of you, not
Yeah,
just you,
I
Sim.
think it has to increase. I understand the defensive side, but if you need scoring, I mean, you got to use what's available to you, and then figure out a way to hide him. I don't think he's so terrible defensively from what I've seen that he can't be out there for those minutes because he can provide you scoring. You know what I mean? I mean, he gives effort. He's not fast. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't move his feet that great left to right lateral movement. But he gives the effort. He's not just gonna be a slouch and just let somebody go past him and not even try. You know what I mean? But I think you need his offense right now. You need his offense. And we were talking about posting up. He's a guy that can post up a little bit, right? You can put
Yeah,
him down there on the box and he might be able to score. So I think you gotta use him. So I think those minutes gotta get up for him right
and
now.
you think you think they do? You because
I think
do you think
I think they do.
Tibbs will figure that part
Yeah.
out?
I think eventually they do, as long as everybody's out. Tibbs just seems to be a person that's got to get comfortable with you as a player. You know what I'm saying? And then the more comfortable he gets with you, the more he trusts you and will put you out there on the floor. You know, Tibbs a little insecure with his, a little insecure, like, oh, nah, this guy, I got to get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? Let me get someone in there that I know. At least I'll make a mistake with somebody that I
Yeah,
know, and I
and
know
I
I
was
can. You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to say that. At least I go down under my philosophy. You know what I mean? I believe
But I think
rather
once
than
he gets comfortable and he's like, "Okay, I know what this guy can do. I know to expect this mistake or that mistake." You know what I'm saying? Then I think, he's a little more lenient and keeping him out there.
Queen. What's your thoughts?
I like what I see from him. I like, his offensive repertoire. He's just a bucket in my opinion. He can, and even him putting it on the floor, which is a, bit of a surprise, at least for those like myself who weren't that familiar with him. He could score in the post, he can hit the three. He
Create
doesn't
for
need a lot
others.
of space to hit the three. Correct. Create for others. He could put the ball on the floor. So he's the package, so to speak, on the offensive end, and we need it. Given where we are right now, we need it. So maybe you play him at the three with Precious at the four, Hartenstein at the five, Deuce, and whoever DiVincenzo at the two to kind of protect him. But I think he can get all of the minutes he can handle at this point. I think that should be the aim.
Any belief Sim believes that it will increase. Two-part question: do you agree that it will increase, and what do you attribute the 24 minutes per game so far, or do you think that's a fair number for a new acquisition
I, no, not given, not
c-
given,
given the circumstance?
not given the circumstances. He should be. I even think 30 is too low. Given the circumstances, I'm not sure about if it'll increase because I'm not sure why it hasn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's been times when Tibbs have put Harden off the bus. He came in averaging 30 minutes a game. OG came in starting averaging I don't know how many
Mm,
minutes a game, and now we got to
mm.
spoon feed Bojan, and I think it's probably because of the defense. And I think Tibbs have to let it go right now, given the circumstances. You just got to let it go.
Well, I'm encouraged for a couple of reasons. His production is not bad. Like you said, he's a bucket. You see an offensive package. You see an array of things he's capable of and has done. And Precious, you know what I mean, was on a short leash when you know,
When he
so to
first,
speak, when he first got here, and now he's leading the league in minutes since OG went down.
right.
You know what I mean? So
True,
I'll
true.
give that part as an encouragement in leaning towards or wanting to believe with some beliefs as far as it will increase, because I think it has to. I think we all agree it has to. And again, none of us are the Tib bashing, you know what I mean? But this is something that I feel like we gotta. I'm not understanding why, especially given the circumstance. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if there's anything else to elaborate with Bojan in particular. Just, I mean, I'm impressed. I think he's more skilled than I thought. You know what I mean? He has a bigger offensive package than I thought. So, I'm pleasantly surprised. And then the playmaking, the creating for others. I've seen, quite a few assists. Throughout the 6 games. Not in one particular game, but you know what I mean. The fact that he's capable of finding a guy off the cut or making the right read to the three or off a drive and things of that nature. I'm surprised. I didn't know he had that in his bag. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with him. Anything you guys want to add about Bojan?
No, I mean, I like what he's bringing to the team, and the potential of what he can bring later on when everybody gets back. You know, but just again, right now, Tips just got to use him.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know who said it. I seen somebody in the chat say that his defense is worse than Fournier's. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think he has had lapses for sure, but his defense, like he's played some good defense as well, that surprised me so far. So I think his defense is actually better than I thought, and I would say definitely better than Fournier's. What do you guys think about his defense? Just as far as advertised, worse, better.
That's advertised. I didn't think Fournier was, you know, I think it's about the same. I think both of them fight on the defensive end. They just don't have the lateral quickness. I don't think they're out there just, like I've seen players just, hey, go on, do what you want to do. You know,
Right.
yeah. Neither one of them are like that to
No,
me. They scrap, they hustle. They just not. They just don't have. They
you don't
just
have
don't have.
talent.
Yeah, but
Right.
I've seen what I'll say in the differences, and maybe it's sample size, but I've seen Fournier targeted way more than Bojan. You know what I mean? And when I say targeted, I mean like it may be consecutive plays or running it until he's taken out or you figure it out. So that I haven't seen. So I don't think he's that.
Because
Um,
listen, we're not at full strength. There's no need to target him. They can get what they want right now. When we're full strength, then they might
okay.
they might target him.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I feel like his defense is a little more physical than Fournier's, though. I've seen a few times where he's physical with guys and you know grabs holds a little bit. I've seen a couple of times, and I don't know if I've ever seen Fournier. Fournier was really good at playing the passing lanes,
Mhm.
and getting cross court passes and stuff like that. I feel like Bogdanovich is a little bit better being physical. He's a little bigger than Fournier too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that may have a lot to do with too that I think they see different types of matchups.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the difference in the defense is kind of hard to judge apples to oranges because they're playing in different spots and guarding different types of players. Let me shout out Hamad Noble, appreciate the super chat. He says the Knicks, we were too cheap at the deadline. We should have swung for the fences to get that second spot, relying on the return of one and or half of starters. That's bad business. DeRozan, Clarkson, Wiggins, or Murray in a big would have helped. I agree. DeRozan. I agree. Murray. I don't know what Clarkson's difference would have been, and I'm not sure what Wiggins' difference would have been. Um, I think they had multiple things that they were trying to do at once. Um, I don't know the trade that. Do you think they were working out of desperation? Because the OG, I think they were expecting the way it was projected was they were expecting OG to come back before this trade was done. When the trade was done, the announcement was made about the surgery. You know what I mean? So who knows how long they knew, you know what I mean? But they could have swung for the fences. I agree with that part. Should have. I would have preferred it as well. But I'm not mad at this move, and I don't think it's I don't think we've seen the fruits of it.
Now, and I'm telling you, Tony, were you about to say something, Steph?
Yeah, you can go first. That's fine.
I just wholeheartedly believe that the Knicks are saving their chips because I just feel like they're gonna make a push for Donovan Mitchell in the summer. I really do. I feel like that's the push that they're gonna make. Just everything to me lines up as far as the contract situation. Um, you already got somebody that size playing that role. You already know Donovan Mitchell wants to be in New York. I feel like the Knicks are gonna make and I feel like they might even make it at the draft because
Wow.
they have draft picks at the draft, right? They got 2 draft picks this year with Dallas and their own, you know what I'm saying? That you can give to Cleveland
Select
now.
that first.
They can get players now. You know what I'm saying? If Cleveland was willing to do it, of course. So I feel like the Knicks are going to make a full court press for Donovan Mitchell this summer. Because this
And
is the summer to get him. Because if you get him this summer, next year is when all 3 of those guys can opt out at the end of next year. Brunson, Randall, and Donovan Mitchell. Right. So now if you get them this summer, they got a year. You got the whole season to try to get all 3 of those guys to opt in for one more year and then extend them for that beginning in 26, 27 when the Knicks only got $37 million on the books. And that's why I think they're going to try to make that full court press for him this summer. Because then if they can extend them, all 3 of them in 26, 27, they can afford to pay all 3. You still got DiVincenzo under contract as long as he's still there. You still got Josh Hart under contract. Like those guys are still under contract in 26, 27, and you can, like when you're signing players, Hartenstein or whoever, like you can create it so that you have enough money to sign those 3 in 20, with an extension beginning in 26, 27. It lines up, so that's why I just feel like they're gonna make a full court press for Donovan Mitchell in the summertime.
the only thing I want to add to that is, in your scenario, what you're just saying, if they select the players, let's say behind the scenes for the team that they gonna make the trade with, then they're trading players and not draft picks. So
That's true.
now they could still add the draft capital
Right.
after those 2 players
Yeah.
that they select in the draft, or maybe they become fillers. You know what I mean? Fillers for our team because we
right.
got to get rid of some guys.
But that's why I
So
think like some of these players that people are talking about, they were probably like, because I feel like they probably have had conversations with Cleveland already, and they know what Cleveland would want if he was going to be traded. And so I'm not saying that they already got a deal. I'm just saying if he were going to be traded, they probably had conversation and they know we're going to want this many draft picks. We're going to want this kind of compensation, this, and this, right? So they're like, all right, we got to make sure we have this package available in case they're because I'm pretty sure they're going to talk to Donovan Mitchell over the summer and say, do you plan on opting out next year? Right? And if he plans on opting out, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. They might be looking at, you know what? Let's get it done. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's why I think they didn't try to do, do those type of moves.
Queen, what you want to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily about Donovan Mitchell, but I think that there are a few teams that's going to be hitting up against that second tier, and there's gonna be some quality players available because teams are just not going to want to pay that type of tax, that type of money, be limited in their ability to improve their roster with a team that's not a championship contender. So some good players are going to come loose. And I think the Knicks didn't want to go all in right now because they want to hold that flexibility to be able to take advantage of whether that's Donovan Mitchell, whether that's, whoever else, the fallout may be. But I think they wanted to give this team something. To give this team an opportunity. So that's why, listen, we could bring in Burks and Bojan. That gives them some firepower off the bench without eating into our flexibility. So next season, after this season is, whether that's the draft, whether that's the summertime, this is where you're going to see the Knicks make their moves. And let me tell you something. Everything is on deck but Brunson. Everything is on deck but Brunson this summer.
Mm. I disagree with everything because I think Randall is a part of the future. Well, let's just say this. I'll give you two scenarios because I was laughing towards the end of what you were saying, not at what you were saying, because I was thinking of asking you, well, what type of player do you what type of player fits? I was trying to think of who fits that description of, like what team is gonna move somebody to relieve themselves of the cap space or of the second apron or whatever. And I couldn't think of anybody. And then as soon as I look at the chat, somebody, I think it was Nixon Nice, he says Cat is coming this summer, and that would be the prime example of what you're describing of a team, you know what I mean, who would definitely be going into that second apron, who would probably want to move Cat, especially because next year his contract balloons. So that fits.
Particularly if they get bounced in the first round, then that front office is like,
Right.
should we allow this team to grow together or?
But I say all that to say, I guess if it was Cat, I could see Randall being the piece, but I think Randall wouldn't be on the table unless it's a big, and I don't see a big per se being the target.
I'm not saying Randall is on the table, but what
No. I mean, you said everybody but Brunson. I was just trying to include Randall in that everybody but Brunson and Randall.
I don't think Randall is untouchable. I don't think they're giving him away. And I like this duo of Randall and Brunson personally, but I'm just saying I don't think Randall is untouchable. I think it's going to take a lot for them to, but Brunson is just I just don't see a scenario in which Brunson is traded.
And no, I agree with that 100%. And I got some, like, you triggered me. I'm sorry because I was watching
talking about Randall, so I get it.
No, I was watching a bunch of different podcasts as well in my free time that I currently have, and I see a lot of people still referencing like, oh, Randall can get traded and move it, and I'm just like, I'm so tired of it. So my bad, I got triggered a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Sid, was you gonna say something?
No, I mean, I agree. Brunson is for this team. I mean, right now he's untouchable in their mind, right? They're not moving Brunson. You just look at, no matter what's going on. I mean, he's gonna give you right now. He's gonna give you 35 every time he steps on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And nobody can stop him. It doesn't matter what they do. He's gonna give you 35.
And
Right?
he's finally getting his credit from the league and the people, the podcasters recently removed from the league. You know what I mean? So I'm loving to hear that. Just randomly too. You know what I mean? They may not even be talking about the Knicks. I heard them somebody talking about, top 5 current point guards, and they threw him in there. So I was happy to hear that. Yeah, I agree. These injuries, man, these injuries been killing us, but I'm gonna break down each guy: Randall, OG, Mitch. I got a little timeline of when they got hurt, what their expected time of missing was and where we're at. And I want to give you guys give your thoughts on your optimism on when we might see them. Honestly, I was thinking the 16th. I think that was the day that had 14, 16, something like that.
Wow.
But I'm what I'm about to break down. It might be quicker.
That
It
just
might be.
seems like a long time.
It
With
does.
the
It
way we
definitely does.
going right now, man.
Like, I mean that gives us
By that
that
time.
that gives us the no. That's a
No.
don't say that, Queen.
This
But
team,
not no.
yes.
I've been. That's what I've been thinking about. So you're right. It's because of JJ too. Talk about the player now.
We equidistant them. I don't know what it is now, but when we did Queen's Court, we were 2.5 out of 3, 2.5 out of 7. You know?
Oh man. So let's who you want to start with? Randall, OG, Mitchell Robinson. Let's start with Mitchell Robinson. He's been gone the longest. He's the first one with speculation of missing the season. Um, I don't know. I guess you would probably say he has the biggest injury of the 3, right? Broken foot, right? Or fractured foot. Um, so Mitchell Robinson got hurt on December 8th. The initial timeline was 8 to 10 weeks. March 2nd, which would be this Sunday, when we play the Cavs, would be 12 weeks from from the injury. We just seen him back on the bench for the first time. Travel with the team or at the game. Um, Encouraging sign. We could say the same for Randall too when we get there, but typically that's like one of the first stages of when we know a guy is on his way back. You start to see him on the bench for the games. Like it's a normal injury, not a long-term injury. What are your thoughts on Mitchell Robinson coming back? Do you think how much would it help immediately? And do you think he's closer to the timeline or coming back than you initially thought? Because I purposely was ignoring the Mitchell Robinson thing, and I was pleasantly surprised when I looked at when I looked this up, and it's 8 to 10, and we talk about 12 weeks in a couple of days. You know what I mean? The last report I heard also was they doing those step by steps. You know what I mean? He got to pass this test, this test, this test. He hasn't started running yet. So that wasn't encouraging, but the timeline and not hearing about setbacks and him currently with the team is definitely encouraging. Whoever wants to start, and we'll rotate for the next one.
I think he's the last one to come back.
Yeah.
I think it's there's even video of Randall shooting. Not a lot of no contact, but we got I think Mitch is the last one to come back. It's 12 weeks, which is 2 weeks past the original date when they said they would reassess him, and he's still not walking. I mean, he's still not
Running.
running. I think he's going to be the last one to come back. And if I'm just going by Mitch, just how he's been up to this point, it takes him a while to get, ramped up. So in the game, we might be talking about 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Right.
'cause which trust me, it'll help us. Um, it'll help us.
It
But
helps. That's no doubt about that.
I don't see him giving us 20,
Help.
30 minutes.
Oh
Even
no,
if he's
no.
back to the playoffs, I don't see him being back to that level of effectiveness.
Well,
Right.
the reason I said the 14th on my initial the other day was because that gives us a full month. So my thing was get everybody by the 14th. You know what I mean? That gives us a full month with everybody there. Now during that time, you could rev them all up, slowly, but you know what I mean, that still gives us a full month. So that's my worst case scenario what I'm hoping for to be honest, because I think we need them. Go ahead, Sim. My bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Last one back.
About Mitch. I don't know. I'm not encouraged about him coming back. And when he does come back, Isaiah Hartenstein, I think, is still going to be the starter, at least for the remainder of this year. I don't know. I'm not looking forward. I'm not seeing that he's going to be a factor, at least for the remainder of the season. Maybe playoffs. You know what I'm saying? He's there. But then my question would be, how much is Tibbs going to use him then? If he's not getting back into that point, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if Mitch is going to be back. I
So
don't think he's going to be back. And then if he does, again, like Steph is saying, because now you got Precious here, you got Hartenstein there, you got you'll have Mitchell Robinson. Now you got to figure out that rotation. You got 24 games left or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not looking good to me.
I think it's 23.
20.
Oh, I think if my math is right, I think it's 23. But I'm gonna stay optimistic. I'm gonna stay optimistic. Just because like I'm looking at it historically with this team.
Mhm.
Once we see guys back on the bench, it's usually a sign that they're on their way back. And typically in those situations, everybody has kind of come back. Timeline aside, 4 to 6 weeks, 8 to 10. That aside, everybody has typically come back sooner than I've thought in the past. So I'm hoping you know we do get him back, but I think I agree with you both. Where I think it's gonna be a slow walk. You know what I mean? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Not pushing anything, especially with the injuries to the lower part of his body consistently over the past couple years. So I don't think they push him at all. But I think just to have him available, have him on that roster if need be, I think I hope he comes. I hope he comes back sooner rather than later because I rather the slow walk start sooner. But I think they taking a time with him for sure. Um, let's go to Randall and we start with Sim. So Randall's timeline, January 27th. Um, they said 4 weeks. Saturday, 3 to 4 weeks. Saturday, March 2nd will be exactly 5 weeks.
5?
Um,
Randall
yeah,
has been out for 5 weeks?
Saturday will be 5 weeks
Wow.
Wow.
since the injury. And that's on the dot. So, again, Randall is the trickiest one of them all for me, for the simple fact that, like, I'll be honest, part of me would prefer if I know if surgery, when he said surgery is still on the table, I don't know if he's saying that it's surgery is going to be either during the season or after. And if that's the case, I'd rather him get it now and get it over with and be ready for the start
Of what?
Mm.
next year.
Oh,
Like I don't, if surgery is an option regardless, because it's all about wording, verbiage, right? And what the quote is surgery is not off the table this season.
Right.
So and I think they word things a certain way on purpose. You know what I mean? So if he's gonna have surgery, either way, I would much rather him just get it out the way and not. And I know, Sim, we've spoke about this. You know, they may be a thing where you can't injure it any worse, even if it pops, you know,
Right.
redislocates.
Right.
I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to. I'd rather not take that take that chance, especially if surgery is on the table either way. Now, if there's a chance that he's not gonna have surgery, like he gets right, plays through it, not have surgery in the off season
Hmm.
because there's no reoccurring injury, then I'm all for him coming back as soon as possible, helping us. Uh, you know what I mean? We need him, all that. Um, that being said, I know that was long winded. I was trying to lead with you, but what do you think of what I'm saying? And then, you know, his timeline. It's been 5 weeks. Where do you think we are with him?
You know, I, I I think in the chat last night after the game, there was some people saying that Randall might be the first one to come back, and I think I agree with him. He might be the first one to come back. Even before OG. We've seen him out there working out. Um, so if he's gonna come back, he might be the first one to come back. It does make me nervous that he's saying I haven't ruled out surgery yet. I mean, at what point do you like for this season? I guess this season could also mean if you're eliminated from the playoffs. I guess that could still mean it. You know what I mean? But when do you make the final decision? I mean, you gotta, at some point within the next shortly, you gotta make a decision. I'm either getting the surgery or I'm playing the remainder of the season. You know what I mean? I just want him to be healthy. I don't want him to be out there favoring the shoulder because I don't think you're gonna get the best of Randall if he's doing that. The same way when his ankle was hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's noticeable, and I think it'd be really, really noticeable that you're not getting the best of Randall.
And you won't get no slack from the chat.
Right. Right.
Uh,
right.
so specifically about if surgery is required either way,
Mhm.
what's your thoughts on what he should do, might do? How you feel about that?
If surgery is required either way, I think I think I think he should do what's best for his career. So, if surgery is required, just go ahead and get the surgery and get it done. You know what I'm saying? Don't play around with it. Just get it done and hang it up for the season. You know what I'm saying? If but I'm pretty sure, he's gonna get some opinions that say, no, you can play on it, get surgery later. He's gonna get those kind of opinions. He's got to make and he said, I'm gonna make the best decision for my career, because I want to have a long career in the NBA. And that's what you got to do. So I think if they say if it's out there and they say you got to get surgery, just go get surgery because now, you let the team know you're not uh, you know, Tom Thibodeau doesn't have to coach where, okay, I'm holding on to this spot for Randall, so I'm going to coach around it. No, you can now make a decision to say, well, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to rock with this strategy since Randall's out. You know what I'm saying? So it'll help everyone in the long run as soon as that decision is made. But I think if he has to get surgery, just go get the surgery.
Um, and I think his mentality is fight through it, play through it. etc. You know what I mean, which is part of a concern for me. Even though, I agree though. I think if he does come back, he's the first one back. He was the first one back on the bench. You know what I mean? I think it's been like 3 games now, maybe 4, that he's been on the bench. You know what I mean, supporting the team. So and like you said, the workout video. Uh, I'm gonna give my thoughts on the workout video after you go, Queen. But you could give your thoughts on the workout video as well, in your thoughts
Yeah,
on Randall.
I think that if he can't damage it anymore, play. Like if that's the situation where you're not gonna do any more damage to your shoulder, it's not gonna impact, the chances of it impacting your career is like no, then I would play because Randall at 80%, and I get the fans. The fans are gonna judge him if he plays as if he's 100%. I get that. But Randall at 75% is better than anybody else we got at that position. Obviously, don't jeopardize your career. If it's going to jeopardize your career, get the surgery. Don't come back till next season. But if that's not the case, I would still take Randall um, at 75, um, at 75%. He's still going to draw. He's still going to draw attention.
Um, I don't know if Jerry's a doctor. Jerry Fitz is a doctor, but he said it's a separated shoulder. He needs it repaired. Surgery is the only way. Regular folks may not know, but Randall 100% needs surgery. So I mean, he's kind of confirming my thought. Was that what you were saying though? Whether if it's not going to damage it further, even if you need the surgery at some point, go ahead and play now.
Right. Same thing with the ankle. He wasn't 100, he wasn't 100%. I'm sure he got word that he couldn't damage it any further. Um, so yeah, but obviously if you can damage it further, don't play. And
Right.
he knows that. He
Yeah.
said that in his statement that he's not going to risk his career to play this season.
That being said, let me ask you this. And I was actually gonna ask Sim about Sue. Um yeah, I lost my train of thought. Give me your thoughts on the workout video.
He looked good, but there's no contact. He looked good. No
That's it.
contact. The good thing about it is that when he does that bump and that fadeaway, I believe it's with the left shoulder, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It is unorthodox, so it might
Yeah,
be.
he kind of does the bump to create space.
Right.
Is it
Dribbling
with
with
the
the
right?
right.
It has to, because it can't be with the right, and because that kind of
Yeah.
seems a little awkward.
Right. So that's
Um,
like right. Dribbling with the right hand, bump
Yeah.
with the left shoulder,
Yep.
and then fade back and shoot it with
yeah.
the left hand.
All
Yeah.
right. So that's
That's what I was.
yeah. And I think his rebound it might go down.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. You're like, no, I'm not getting in there.
and I mean, I don't know how much he's gonna bang down low either, which he was starting to lean back towards a lot more this year, and stray away from the perimeter a little bit. He
Mhm.
might revert back, just to avoid some more contact, as much contact as possible. All right, I remember because you stated play. Sim, you saying get the surgery. I'm kind of more towards get the surgery. So I guess it's more towards you, Queen. But I guess you can answer too, Sim. As a coach, as a teammate, are you okay with his decision either way? And as a fan, and as the fan, are you you know what I mean? So or do you think there are, obviously I know fans is gonna look at him whichever way they choose, given the circumstance. But like let's say it came out that like definitively, he got to have a surgery either way. And it's his decision. Do you think there are teammates or a coach or staff that would look at him funny, but by deciding to do it now and not play through it, fight through it?
I don't
And,
think so.
and would, right. I know there's fans that would. Either way, like whatever he decide, they gonna put
Oh,
a
he
spin
should have
on
did that sooner. If you
it.
was gonna have
Yeah.
surgery, you should have been did that. Maybe you could have made it back.
Right.
But also he gotta test how strong he feel, how confident he feel, how you know what I mean. He got it. So the only way to do that is to wait and see. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
I thought this was gonna be more of a positive note.
It's tough,
But,
man. When you
but
look at everything, it's like,
well, I'm looking at the
you know,
timelines. I'm like, oh, they passed due pretty much. You know
man,
what I mean?
things dropped so fast. We were doing so good. Everybody was
Oh,
riding high. The team was looking great. And then all of a sudden, whoop.
yeah, the bottom fell out. I mean, injury wise,
Right.
because when
That
OG
quick.
came, we was on a 55. We looked like we was on a 60 win.
Yeah. We were killing
Oh,
everybody. We looked great.
all right. OG, salute, Ron. Appreciate you.
Julian.
February 5th, he had the surgery. 3-week timeline. March 4th would be 4 weeks. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Basically, I was trying to say, like, with all the basketball gods shining on us, everybody could potentially be back for Saturday. But, you know what I mean? Like, because he would technically be past the, excuse me, past the timeline on the second, but the 4th would be exactly 5 weeks. So, you know, maybe we see him at the game, you know, as a watching, you know what I mean, come next game, come tomorrow.
Did you hear the
That
latest
would be
though?
nice. I'm sorry?
Did you hear the latest? Was it
No,
Woj or was it somebody else that said he
another 3-week thing?
he was evaluated and he's on, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, like he's on pace, he was evaluated, and he'll probably be back in 2 to 3 weeks.
I read that, but I swear I thought it was like a
A
um
old
an
post?
old one, because I swear I've been reading that same thing for a couple different, you know what I mean, like during its whole stretch. So I don't know if somebody's like reposting it from the original or if this is the update. I didn't hear specifically reevaluated. I heard reevaluated in 3 weeks. That's what I keep seeing, and I keep seeing it recirculate. I haven't heard an official, oh, he was reevaluated and now the official timeline is such and such.
Yeah, I think Woj. I'm looking for it now, but I believe it was a Woj post.
But every time I've seen it, it was Woj, and I seen it at least 2 different weeks. You know what I mean, like this week, last week. So hopefully that, you know what I mean. Yeah, somebody said Woj confirmed that. King Ribby, salute. I don't know when this was officially. Was it last week? I'm hoping, or
No, that was like
because the 3-week
today or yesterday. Okay, this is
Oh yeah, because that would
exactly
be
6 hours ago. There's no timetable for OG Anunoby yet, but there is a loose idea of when he'd return if rehab continues to progress. More on that and other, he wants you to
subscribe. I got the scoop. Oh man.
Mid-March is seen internally by the Knicks as a realistic possibility if things continue to go well.
So that's
Mid-March. Listen.
Oh man.
The Knicks mid-March.
Wait, before you go there, let me ask my comment, my question, because I had a question about all 3 of these guys, and I don't want to put it. Let me put. If we knew we could get one guy back now,
100%.
yes. and then the timeline is what, like, we'll get the other guys back, but you know what I mean. The timeline is uncertain.
Mhm.
Who do you think would be the most important piece right now?
Randall for me.
Yeah, Randall. No doubt about it.
I think I would pick Randall too, but I think there's an argument for OG.
Really?
Only reason I say that is because when Randall went down, we didn't stop. We stopped when OG went down. You know what I mean? Everything was clicking when OG came. Randall got hurt. It was devastating for sure, but we were still adequate. You know what I mean? We were still an adequate team with, and OG was starting to find his. It looked like he was starting to find his groove a little bit. But I agree. I would pick Randall too. I was just saying that there's an argument for OG.
Okay, yeah, because I kind of see that as like we was in a groove. You know what I'm saying? We was rolling. We was in the groove. So, you know, you can kind of stay in it for a little while. You know, if we would have went longer without Randall, I think you would have started to see it, right? Especially as teams start to scheme for it, you would have started to see it like, oh yeah, we need to get him back. You know, so I think if you get, you get Randall back, I think he would be the one because we don't got no offense. And,
Right.
we're hoping that OG, if he came back, we'd be hoping that he's going to be able to, do some one-on-one stuff and all of that. We know, what Randall will be able to do.
Luke Skywalker said OG and Randall went out the same game. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah.
Nah, Randall went out and then OG, I mean, we didn't even know OG was going to be out.
Exactly.
Right? We didn't even know. We didn't see any injury. We didn't see anything. We just one
Matter
day.
of fact, yeah, he was at the shoot around that first game he missed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Listen, where's the Knicks? I mean, listen, all of us are pretty confident, about the Knicks when healthy. But if you get into that playing territory, it's just that anything can happen. That's the thing. Anything can happen.
Right.
You can't even have a bad game.
I ain't even gonna blame you, Queen, because JJ already put it in the atmosphere. So I'm not even gonna blame you for having the discussion. you know what I mean? Oh, and then like I said, when I started really breaking it down, I mean, yeah, there's a chance, of course, but I mean, oh man, how do we avoid that? How do we avoid that? What like what do you think we got?
49 minutes. Pay him 49 minutes.
Yeah, put that man on the floor.
And what did he miss the game for? I'm just
I think, was it a calf before the All-Star break or something like that?
Yep.
Was it something he sustained here, or was it? Is this? Oh no, it's not, because he missed most of the year, right? In Detroit.
He's back though.
No, I know, but he kind of just resurfaced it back to playing. His first game this year was, I'm not sure when, but it was right around trade talk. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe a month before the deadline. Yeah, I don't think he played early this year in Detroit.
No, he didn't.
Like for a long time. Like I remember when did he make his debut against us?
You mean season's debut?
Oh no, yeah, but it wasn't. It was shortly before that he made his season's debut. He hadn't been playing long. But yeah, hopefully it's not the same injury, and hopefully this is not another concern moving forward. Because I think that came out of nowhere too, him missing that one game. Man, I did not want this to be this type of podcast, but I mean, we nicked and bruised, right? So it does fit. Any concern with Hartenstein and his reoccurring injury? That, you know what I mean? I think this is not a knock on Tibbs and his minute distribution, but I do think there is a correlation to his minutes and his injury, like no knock on him because he stepped up, but this is the most minutes he's played in his career for the longest stretch ever, and it's by necessity. Again, this is not me digging at Tibbs because I'll probably be doing the same thing, but he's in and out as well, and you got to think he's fighting through some things because of the situation we're in, knowing that he can't really afford to miss time here, you know what I mean, and get the rest. So, any concern with Hartenstein long term, short term?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Um,
and he dealt with the same thing last year. You know what I mean?
right,
Slow start, really didn't pick up his game until the end of the
right.
year. But I don't think that's gonna be the effect because I think he kind of found his rhythm here as a whole anyway. So it's just about when he's available and if he's available. But any concern?
I do. I have some concern about just the health of his Achilles. You know what I mean? And the more you play on it, it's not going to get any better. Now, of course, I'm sure he has a lot of concern because he's got a contract year coming up, so he's probably got that on his mind. But yeah, I definitely have some concern because without Hart, I mean, you can see the difference with this team with and without Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely have concerns. We need the guy out there, but if he can't go, he can't go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one of the things he said that was encouraging a week or so back was that the concern is not it popping. That they feel like it's strong enough. The medical staff feel like it's strong enough. So the issue is not necessarily it popping. It's just that it may flare up and need rest. So that's good.
But
That was the other thing. We was holding on a little bit, then OG went down, then iHeart,
Right?
you
And I
know,
went down.
yeah,
and here Brunson go missing last game. I didn't even know that was coming. Like, yeah,
yeah,
what
me,
happened? Like, what he missed too? Because I mean, why he? I heard neck, I heard back. Like, and neither one of those is good. Did y'all hear why?
why what?
Why he missed last game?
Brunson,
Brunson
I think it was something with the neck.
neck
Service
soreness. Okay,
neck, yeah, something with the neck.
Yeah, some kind of neck soreness or something like
somebody
that.
said neck spasms. Weird.
Yeah.
I never heard of neck spasms, and that would make sense why I got confused with neck and back. But oh man, I mean, you might as well go there. We talking about it. Any concern with Brunson? I mean, I think he's gonna be getting knickknacks all year anyway. You know what I mean? Just from usage and I'm not talking about Tiz. I'm talking about the way he play and the way he performs. He's leading the league in points in the paint for anybody 6'7" or smaller, and he's
Brunson
sixth in the league. Period
scoring.
in points in the paint.
Oh, he's sixth in the league in points in the paint, but he's
Period.
also sixth in the league in scoring, right?
Oh yeah, yep. And first for 6'7" or under. Like the only people that score more in the paint of him than him are like Giannis and Embiid. Like they all big. Jokic. Like
Hmm.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is crazy. I mean, he's doing some just historic stuff, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to end on some type of positive note. I hate to pass the buck, but like, give me something positive that we can end the show in, because I thought the timeline and the fact that everybody is past pretty much past the timeline was encouraging. Randall's back on the bench, that's encouraging. Mitch is back on the bench, that's encouraging. This makes sense why we haven't seen OG back on the bench. We got another 3-week timeline. I didn't know that, so that's a live update for myself at least. Oh man,
Listen, I think what's encouraging is that the Knicks have crossed over. Regardless of what happens, for the rest of this season. We're no longer a laughing stock. We're no longer, in the bottom of the league. Whether most think we're championship contenders. Those who don't still have to agree we're right. We're right there, and that's something to be about, regardless of what happens for the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's I agree with that. I mean, right now with the outlook, that's the best thing we can take, I think.
Right.
Right? That's the best thing we can take is that, we have expectations of this team. You know what I'm saying? We have expectations that this team can do some things. Most of your team is coming back next year for sure. Um, I'm not saying the season is over. I know people are probably like, "Hey, y'all act like the season is over." I'm not saying the season is over, but injuries have killed us.
Would you say decimated us?
Decimated us. Yeah, we're decimated with injuries. We got Deuce running the point guard spot.
Yeah.
What would Clyde say? Devastated and decimated.
Be careful, Sam. Nick Yacht might show up in the chat. You're talking about Deuce. What's the problem?
All right.
Jerry Fitz says positive note will be the 7th seed and will avoid Boston to the Eastern Conference Final. I don't want to go through the play-in.
I don't, but at least at 7th, you get 2 chances to get in. It's not like single game elimination.
I guess we gotta be 7 for me to look at the positive of it. We can't be at 4 right now and we think about 7 being the positive. Like I don't want to avoid Boston that bad. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, if you're in the play-in, that's the only way to avoid Boston. Right. Is to win, be in the 7th seed and win.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only way to avoid Boston, because if you're in the 7th seed and you lose that game, now you got one more chance to get in. You win that game, you're facing Boston because you're the 8th seed. And Boston is, pretty much 100% that they're going to be the number 1 seed in the East.
Craig, I'm only posting positivity. I'm trying to end on a positive note. Somebody did mention Precious Trua, and I do want to give everybody the opportunity, and we'll end on this. The bright spot in this turmoil time right now, you know what I mean? So whether it's Precious is definitely a candidate. I think Deuce is a candidate for his play all year, or since the trade with Canada, the OG trade. He's definitely showed his value and stepped up shooting the ball well. Who would you be your standout? We'll say the positive player of the year.
Wow, it's close. It's close.
Man, I like the fact that Deuce is knocking down the threes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's playing defense, but he's knocking down threes. When everybody gets back, I don't want him to lose minutes. I want him to stay out there on the floor because he's been a positive for this team. But I think over this time with everybody else, I think I want to point to Precious. Precious has been balling. I mean, we've seen nights where he's giving you double doubles, and I mean, he's really been balling out there. I like what he brings, and I think when everyone comes back, Tibbs has got to find a way to keep him out there on the floor because he brings defense, he brings some aggressiveness. He's learning in his role. So if, let's say, everyone's back and Randall gets in foul trouble, you can count on Precious to be able to provide some defense. Some scoring the way that he, garbage man scoring or whatever, offensive rebounds, a couple of moves here and there. You know what I mean? I really like what Precious has been bringing the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think he's skilled and unpolished, but the effort makes up for, the unpolishedness. You know what I mean? Like and that's one thing I really love about him, like the effort. So what, like if he could really just put it all together, he gonna be a problem. You know what I mean? But the fact that you see the talent, you know what I mean, in flashes, you know it's unpolished, but the effort kind of just makes it work in the
Yeah.
meantime.
The,
Um,
the problem, the only problem that I is most of the time players that play with like that crazy effort, they pick that up because they never had like we say, he looks unpolished. He's probably never going to get that polish. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? And for some players, the reason why they pick up that just that tenacity and effort and things like that is because that's the way that they had to make it.
But how
Yeah.
old is he?
It's fair.
How old is he? Because I think certain guys, at least from my vantage point, and I could be way off because I don't watch everybody throughout the league, but one of the guys, ironically, that I would put him in that or who I would have put in that kind of position a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, Siakam. I think he was like talented, unpolished, but gave effort, which kind of let him maintain until he kind of
Okay.
polished up a little. So I
I mean,
kind of see it
yeah,
see it in that kind of mode. But I may be unfamiliar with Siakam. He may have been better, you know what I mean, longer, earlier, and all that. So I could be wrong.
I think he started playing later too.
Chua?
No,
Siakam. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was a late bloomer.
Are we? So you're talking about bench players, Tony?
No, if you want to throw Devo in there, go right ahead.
I it would be Devo and then Precious for me. Um I thought Devo hadn't reached his ceiling because of the injuries throughout his career, and he showed it this year when he got that starting spot and got extended time. We all knew he can shoot, but this is on another level. Um, I was about to say, and we've seen him put the ball on the floor, which is more than I thought he had. And then last night he take 18 threes and don't put the ball on the floor. But I think he's progressing in that respect. And he's just cool. Like he doesn't seem to be rattled. And I think that's what you need in the playoffs. So I like it would be Debo, but Precious would have to be a close second. When I saw him them first few times, I'm like, "Oh my, wow."
Me too. I was like, oh
It's like
man,
he can't hold the ball. He can't, you know. Then
that's
he had, go ahead, Sam.
no. I was just saying that's the first thing I said. They passing the ball. I was like, man, this dude can't catch. We done.
Then he had the breakout game against Toronto, and I still wasn't impressed. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
guys,
it's
stick
Toronto.
it up. Yeah,
It's the
stick it
old
up."
Right.
team.
They team, but he's been rolling
Yeah.
ever since. The rebounding, particularly offensively, giving us second chance opportunities, but also his perimeter defense. Now, if you take him out that 5 position, you think about this is what, at least me, this is what I was asking for behind Randall. An energy guy that can
Hmm.
rebound, block
Hmm.
shots, defend, on the perimeter, get some deflections, so I mean he's probably gonna, he probably has a bigger role than just playing 12 minutes behind Randall. But Randall and Precious for this season, if Randall is helped, that is a great power forward
Hmm.
spot. I think when you put him at center though, the rim protection is just not that's just not his that spot. So it would be Devo for me and then Precious. I mean,
It's
and then
like Josh Hart playing the 4. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
yeah, I mean, he could do it in a spurt or whatever. He's gonna fight and hustle, but you put him back at the 3 or the 2. You know what I mean? And let him guard. It look a little different.
Yeah.
If you didn't say Devo, I was if you agreed with Sim and said Precious, I would have said Devo. Um, but since you said Devo, I'm probably gonna go Precious. And just because those were the two as well. I think there's an argument. Honorable mention Deuce McBride. Like
Yes.
all
Yeah.
year, he's. I mean, you could say all year, but if even if you want to say since the trade, you know what I mean, since the RJ and quickly trade, he's really stepped in, stepped up. I mean, but he's always done that, right? When given the opportunity, he filled his role. He's very rarely a big liability. The only thing I would say is he's still the odd guy out. You know what I mean? Like no matter what the circumstances, if things aren't running right in that second unit,
Mhm.
or you know what I mean with the bench, he's the first guy out. Brunson's the first guy in. He's you know what I mean. That's not because he messed up. It's just because Brunson's the guy that writes the ship.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, appreciate you guys. It went a little bit longer than I thought, but it's great talk. Always a great with the MBK Big Three in the building. You know what I mean? So
You see,
um
Greg, you said your title should have been "We Need Less from Burks."
Mhm.
no, we need more. We need more. And I mean now's the opportunity for those guys to really give it to us. Pause. Because yeah, when we feel healthy, I expect it's gonna be spurts and not you know what I mean, not like the opportunities they have right now.
Yeah.
Um, Queen, when's your next show? Tomorrow? Oh, well, Friday because there's
Tomorrow,
a game Thursday,
yeah,
right?
Friday at 9 p.m.
All right, check out Dope Soul Sports Talk. You know what I mean with the Queen. Sim, you got anything coming up?
I mean, tomorrow, I'll be doing. I'll be
Post
back.
game.
I'll be back to do a game, doing the game preview. Finally, tomorrow, and then of course, the post game show. But we got those. On March 10th, we're going to the Knicks versus Sixers game. Andy's gonna be there. He's gonna be here. He's in town from Poland.
Are we calling him National Andy now?
I guess he's national Andy now.
First time in the states. Come on.
Yeah, I guess he's national Andy. So if y'all want a ticket, you know what I'm saying? It's $220 per ticket. Um, Let me see what section to see. So let me make sure I'm giving you the right information. Section 224, row 19, or section 226, row 23. We're doing a pregame shoot around. Then we're doing a live pregame and postgame podcast at Legends. Obviously, we'll all be there. Andy's going to be there. So that's going to be going to be a pretty dope time, ladies and gentlemen. So, make sure you get those tickets.
Sim, if you able to insert it in the description afterwards.
Yeah, I can do that. And
All right. So
I
there
just
it
put
is.
it in the chat too.
It's in the chat. It'll be in the description. So if y'all want to double back after the show, you know what I mean, go get the tickets. It's a couple left.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be a dope
It's
dope
something left.
event.
Yeah, something left. So get them now. And the game is gonna be, I mean, every game right now is a big game, but that's gonna be a big game because the Knicks and the Sixers
Yeah.
right there in the standings together. You know.
Hopefully it don't change too much. You know what I mean? Hopefully
Right.
we both not right there, but at 7-8 or so. You know what I mean? Because you know we both losing games right now. So yes, and we will be at Legends. Shout out to Jarrell. Legends before the game, Legends after the game,
Yes, sir.
live podcast. You know what I mean? It's a vibe. Wait. Might be a birthday celebration as well.
Yeah, do
You know
that.
what I mean? You know what I
Uh,
mean? So that
Yo,
let's
it's an early game. Game starts at 6
6 o'clock.
o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Still get home and celebrate tue. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
For sure.
yeah, I think that's it. We out of here. Appreciate y'all as always. Let me find the outro. Chat, I appreciate y'all as always. And Sim, I'll be with you. I'll be on the pregame
Yeah.
tomorrow, post
Okay, man.
game.
Yeah.
and losers lounge because we need a win. DiVincenzo, I want 9 to 18 from 3 tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Word
You
up.
gotta
Headshot. He
summon
took
your
21 shots, 18 threes.
you gotta summon that inner splash cousin. You know what I mean? So and he might just be amped because he playing against that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know, I'm expecting DiVincenzo to take a lot of threes, as well as Bogdanovic. I think Tom Thibodeau's telling him, like, that's our best chance to score right now. So I think he's telling them to launch them. The
Yeah.
Knicks took more threes than twos last night. The Knicks took 46 threes, I think, and only took 83 shots. Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, any encouragement from Josh Hart's recent turn of events? He's shooting the ball a little bit better, look a little bit more confident. What I like about him is if anybody hasn't watched the Roommates podcast with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, he spoke about it, they joke about it, he's aware he's shooting like crap, playing like crap, you know what I mean? So I love the fact that he owns it and he keeps working. You know what I mean? And definitely encouraging that it looks like it's turning around. But yeah, I'm gonna end it on that. Y'all gotta respond. We out of here. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. We out.